Now then, how are we all doing? Today's video is going to be on the Ferguson spanner. Right from the offset, Harry Ferguson didn't want to just produce a nice, lightweight, durable little tractor. He also wanted to create a system. I'm sure that we're all familiar with the slogan, farm better, farm faster with the Ferguson system. But it wasn't just the array of implements that he came up with, that he wanted a nice, simple design with one spanner. When Harry Ferguson joined up with David Brown to produce the Fergie Brown, it came with its own spanner. And then in 1946, when they started producing the little grey mace, or the T20, which is Tractor England, and roughly 20 horsepower, they produced this spanner. Now this is a later spanner, but this remained very much the same through until the end of production in the 1970s. Now over the years I've ended up with quite a few of these spanners. Me and Father used to go to a lot of sales in the Yorkshire area, and we'd always try and pick up a spanner out of a box of tools and pay a couple of pounds for them. These are the actual later ones. You can see the steel stamping numbers there, EN18, that's the grade of the steel. As I've explained before, this end is 1 inch and 1/16, and this end is 11/16. Now regardless on the sides of the thread, the nuts were always made to be able to take the Ferguson spanner. Now it's not only the tractors that were designed to take the spanner, so were the implements. Here we have an example of where we've used a Ferguson spanner on the discs on this Ferguson single leg sugar beet lifter. So first we'd slacken off the big nut that holds the disc in its position. Then on top the square is cut out the right size, so you can slowly adjust the disc to where it needs to be. These discs are slightly different to what you find on a Ferguson plough, as they have this stop, so you can adjust the stop to keep the disc nice and true and straight. So use a little end of the Fergie spanner on this end to slacken this nut off, so you can adjust the angle of the disc. On one side of the spanner we have inches, and the other we have centimetres. You can then use the scales on the side of this spanner to make sure you've got each disc at the exact same depth. So we'll give her a quick tighten back up. Job's done. This is a Ferguson single leg subsoiler. As you can see, spanner fits the big ones, and the small spanner will fit the small ones. The spanner could be used for on your plough, so you could check the depth and the width of your plough. Now there's also a myth that the bonnet's locked. Oops, we'll try that again. There's also a myth that could be used for checking your fuel level. Oh, there's enough there to plough for a day. By the 1950s, Ferguson has introduced a diesel engine into the range. So for that, they came up with another spanner. And in here we have one. There we have it. On one end, we have an open ring, so it can fit the injector pipes. Whilst on the other end, we have a 12.7/8 ring to fit such as this one. Now if you do have one of these, look after it, because there's not so many about, and perhaps leaving it in the toolbox is not the best place for them, those light-fingered friends that we have. By the late 1960s, the emphasis was not quite as much on making sure all the bolts are the right size, but still, when it comes to adjustment for the track width, for the front and rear, you still had the Ferguson spanner. All these ball joints are completely worn away. So these actual ball joints are new ones, but they're on a metric thread. So what I've actually done, I've used the original bolts, which were worn out for the front axle pin, cut the heads off, drilled a hole in the centre, so they're actually a metric thread with the correct size spanner for the Fergie spanner. Same as these, it's little details that I do like to do to the vintage tractors I restore. These nuts here, these are also the right size to take the Fergie spanner. Although it's not completely necessary to do so, I just like to do these little bits just to make it a little bit different to everything else. Strictly speaking, I mean, that should be great, but you know. As I said, the emphasis really wasn't on making sure everything was the right size, but still little things, just the right size for the spanner. You never know, perhaps one day this might be finished. Are you going to finish it one day?
Perhaps.
Now there is another use for the Fergie spanner, and I must admit, I've only just learned a few weeks ago myself this other use for it. It came from my German friend Thomas. Let's get us fired up. I wonder if she'll need any heat today. Nope, it does sound lovely, this little tractor. I do love it, I love its bits. We're having to get all the toys out of the box for this little video. If it doesn't start, first person can have it for free. This is what made Massey Ferguson. Yeah, I'd like to do a nice, like, manoeuvrable tractor. Just push it out the way. There. Be quiet for a minute, little Fergie. Now I'm sure if Harry Ferguson had ever seen the light of a bungee, I'm sure that he would approve. Now, if I wasn't a tight Yorkshireman, I'd buy a new one. I might do at some point. We'll need that and we'll need that. Lovely field of potatoes. So we're in the field, we've got his link box on, come to get a few potatoes. The tractor won't start. Link box is on the floor, just like your implement would be, your plough or anything else. How are we going to get it home? We can make life easy by putting it in neutral to start with. Get his trusty Fergie spanner. Slip off the peach cover. Pull his arms back to the raised position and start winding. Now, it would be much easier if we didn't have a link box on and we could get a full revolution. But I don't know if you can already see, the arms are slowly coming up. And there we have it. Harry Ferguson and his team, they were geniuses. Trusty old God did start. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, hit the like button for me, and if you like what I do with these little videos, hit the subscribe button. If you yourself know of any more uses for the little Fergie spanner, comment below. Right, I'm going to head back now. The trusty little grey Fergie. Thanks for watching.